iLevel went bust. Essentially, just before I joined them, they had been bought out by a VC company. And iLevel was massively up and coming, had great revenues. We had some really big accounts. So, as I said, telecoms, Specsavers, Next, which is a clothing store. We had a big government account as well. And that was a really, really large part of our revenue. And pretty much when the founders brought in this VC company, they had an agreement with them that they had to run the company as is pretty much for 2 years. After that point, they could do with it what they wanted and develop it how they wanted. Only one of the founders was involved at that point. There'd been a couple, but they'd slowly kind of bought out of the business. And so I then joined, thought everything was great. We lost the big government account about a year later after I joined. And essentially the VC firm was just counting down the days until they could pick apart the company for scraps. And so the day that they actually could have broken apart the company was actually a bank holiday, a stat holiday. And so they couldn't. And so it actually happened on a Tuesday. We all came into work. I remember I was working on a report because, of course, all the reports were meant to be due on the Monday, but had been delayed to the Tuesday. So we were manically trying to get something together way quicker than we would normally. And then we all got called downstairs to one of our biggest meeting rooms that could house the whole company. And everyone was obviously gossiping on the way down the stairs, trying to figure out what had happened. And none of us guessed correctly because we all kind of stood there and the original founder said, the company is no more. You all have a job today. You have a job tomorrow. And then that's it. And so in true British fashion, we all went to the pub and we all drowned our sorrows. And then kudos to the leadership. The next day, they organized for pretty much every major media agency to come in and present to the staff why we should go and work for their companies. Because
well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it was incredible. And the ones that did it massively gained from it. Like it's probably felt like a charitable thing to do at the time, but it was very savvy. You had, I think at that point, maybe 140 digital experts in a time that wasn't really a thing. You had specialists in affiliates and search and display, and all major agencies were trying to build that at the time. They were kind of trying to build their teams, trying to build their tech, their expertise. And so they also, a couple of them, so Starcom in particular, they kind of said, hey, over the next couple of weeks, feel free to use our offices for interviews. It doesn't even have to be for us. You can have competitors in here. If you need a space to work or have interviews or calls or meetings, just come and use our reception. Like they had a big open kind of area, lobby area. And so they did very well. Like Starcom got a load of people straight away from iLevel. I was in a slightly different situation in that my husband, I met at university, then boyfriend, was about to graduate soon because he did an extra year and I'd started working. And he was starting a job the following fall. And so we'd decided we were going to go travel Southeast Asia for 2 months. And so I had agreed with iLevel, a sabbatical, so an unpaid sabbatical, and it was starting in 6 weeks' time. And I had paid for the flights. And that was it. I had no money to actually go and travel. That was what the next kind of 6 weeks of paychecks was meant to be.
No.
And so my husband was actually running the Berlin Marathon the week that iLevel went under. And I rang him and he was like, obviously just after running a marathon, absolutely knackered, and was just like, hey, how are you? And I was like, my company's gone bust and I haven't got a job and we haven't got enough money to go traveling. But MEC obviously had the brand side of Orange Telecoms. And so Orange decided to award them the rest of the activity. And so with 48 hours notice, they took on probably about a $30 million pound account, maybe even 40 million. And they didn't have staff. They didn't have background. They didn't have passwords for all of the reports, or any access to any of the kind of tech. And so they actually didn't do it very well. So where everyone else was coming into the agency and presenting why you should come and work for us, MEC interviewed every single person that worked on the Orange account and said, why should we take you? And so over, maybe there were 40 odd people that worked on that account. Me and one other person went over to MEC because everyone else was being wined and dined by all these other agencies and all kind of went off to bigger and better. But I needed a job the next day. I needed the paycheck to be able to go traveling. And so, I level went under on the Tuesday. The contracts ran out on the Wednesday, and I think I started on the Monday at MEC.
Was that a very matter-of-fact conversation you had with them where you said, here's how I can help you. I can get you going for the next 6 weeks, but then I'm gone because I've already got this planned?
Yep, absolutely. It was, I was very open, very honest. Like, this is how long you have. If you want me to help, I will absolutely help. I know all the contacts. I know all the KPIs. I know all the reports. I know all of the open briefs. I can help you. I was still fairly junior at the time, so I think they absolutely wanted someone more senior. But by the time they realized their mistake, I was all they had left. So I had a great 6 weeks. I was planning and getting involved in all of these things that maybe I had been slightly excluded from before and only been able to activate or kind of do the doing when someone else was doing more of the thinking. I got to work with loads of media partners because, of course, suddenly I was in charge of massive budgets that they all wanted a part in. And I made some great friends at MEC because I knew I was only there for a short time. And so I kind of just threw myself into it